Hello once again, my friends. It's Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and here we are. Luiz Lima here, your host for Spiritism, a closer look, and you are on Kardec Radio. Thanks for joining us for tonight's program. As I always like to say, let me give you basic contact so you can get in touch with us for comments, questions, to maybe suggest topics for discussion here. So please feel free to. And tonight we are going to talk about the universal cosmic fluid, which is also another very abstract subject. Last week we spoke about spirit and matter, which is it kind of precedes the study of universal cosmic fluid. So we just figured, it's a good idea to pick up from there. That's what we're going to do tonight. If you want to go back to last week's program, a little bit more detail, Spirit and Matter. It was presented originally last week, March 8th, 2023. So, by the same token, as we did last week, because it's a kind of an abstract subject, it is easier for us to discuss by using visual aids. So we are going to do some slides here to make it a little more, let's just say, comfortable for the understanding. It is a subject that starts in the codification. Allan Kardec has information just right on the first book, the Spirit's book, but in other places throughout his work, there's an entire chapter on the last book of the codification, the Genesis, published in 1868. And in that book, he puts a full-blown chapter on fluids. Universal cosmic fluid, the name already says, it's a fluid. But we are not going to do in the fluid definition today because that's not really what we wanted to do. We wanted to pick up from last week. So in 1 or 2 minutes, we're going to bring up what was said last week about spirit and matter. So we referenced everything under God. So from God, two things emanate. The first thing is the spiritual principle, and the second thing is the universal cosmic fluid. The entire creation, we mentioned that too, the entire creation happens when the spiritual principle interacts with the universal cosmic fluid. Within the universal cosmic fluid are we could use the word seeds for the concept, are all the seeds for everything that one day is going to be matter. And those seeds are known by, that's how the spirits came about, with the name material principle. Once again, a principle is not, it's a potentiality. It's something that may or may not happen. So material principle is what's in there might become matter as we know it. For example, on a chair, on a book, on a physical body, or it might not. This principle characterizes a potentiality. So there are two things, right? Spiritual principle and universal cosmic fluid in it, material principle. The spiritual principle later on develops into a spirit, and we spoke more in a lot more detail last week. And I encourage you actually to go back and check it out. So the spiritual principle advances, develops, evolves into a spirit, or what we call spirit. The material principle, same thing. It will become matter, but not by itself. The material principle does not transform itself alone into matter. It requires the spiritual principle to act upon it, or the spirit to act upon it. It does not happen by itself. It's not an accident. There is an intelligence, which is the spirit, which is an intelligent principle. There is an intelligent principle operating all of this thing. Matter by itself is inert. It doesn't do anything, doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't transform itself. It doesn't have any life. Okay? So from here, we cleaned up the picture on purpose. So we took out what we didn't need to get to one of the points in the Spirit's book, in which you have God above all things, then spirit and matter. And those are the three elements that compose what is called the universal Trinity. That's in question 27 of the Spirit's book. If you go to the Spirit's book, you're going to see it there. Question 27. The answer to question 27 it's a long answer. It's really long. The concept about the universal Trinity is just on the first phrase, maybe the first and the second phrase. What we want to do is take it from here and go further with the explanation. So the spirits in question 27, which I have here, right here on my hand, they will say, however, they define the universal Trinity, and they say, however, to the element of matter, which is in green, the box in green, to the element of matter must be added the universal fluid. Okay, so just make sure I removed everything on my slides to make it clear, to show you what is the universal Trinity. Three things. That's for visual clarity. That's why I took out the other things on the picture. What they're saying here is you must add the universal cosmic fluid. Well, so we're going to have to put it back. So here it is, back again. Universal cosmic fluid. And why do they say that? The text continues. Because it plays an intermediary role between spirit and matter. So I did this visually on purpose. You see this, the box for spirit and the box for matter are apart. They're not hitting each other. There's not even a physical connection if you look at visually speaking. And there is no connection between these two anyway. One is inert matter, the other is intelligence. There is no intelligence in matter, and there is no matter in the intelligence. They are two different things. For one of these boxes, these spirits, to be able to act upon the matter, the other box, it needs a middleman. Because if the spirit were able to directly interfere into matter, the spirit, would be matter, at least partially itself. And it isn't. So it calls for a middleman, something that interfaces these boxes, spirit and matter, something that allows the spirit to act upon matter to create the creation. So that middleman is the universal cosmic fluid. And the way we put the boxes on purpose, you see there's a little area here in which, in between the spirit and the matter, that's the blue little big box for universal cosmic fluid, because the spirit must act upon matter using the universal cosmic fluid. So that's the first thing that needs to be understood. It is necessary, absolutely necessary, the use of the universal cosmic fluid. The spirit has to know how to use it. And then again, going back to last week, he already knows, because it already got to evolved enough to know how to do that. Okay, so here we have these boxes showing what it is. So what I was reading is here on the screen. Let's go back to question 27, the answer from the beginning. Not from the beginning, from the point that we are. To the element of matter must be added the universal fluid. That's what we did with the big blue box, which plays an intermediary role between spirit and matter per se, since matter is too dense for the spirit to act upon it. directly. You can't. You just can't. The spirit is an intelligence. Matter is this dense thing. Although from a certain point of view, this fluid may be regarded as part of the material element. Okay? So, although from a certain point of view, meaning there is more than one point of view, you can see this in more than one way because of our limited approach to the spiritual things, to non-material things. So although from a certain point of view, this fluid may be regarded as part of the material elements, it differs from it due to special properties. So there is that's why I had the boxes like this. There is something in the universal cosmic fluid which is not matter as we know it. So matter becomes this subset of the universal cosmic fluid. So let's continue. If it were simply matter, if the universal cosmic fluid were simply matter, plain matter, then there would be no reason for the spirit not to be matter as well. This is an interesting logic here. So if the spirit could touch matter directly, there's no reason why the spirit wouldn't be some sort of matter, and it isn't. So the universal cosmic fluid is placed between spirit and matter, yet it is fluid. It's not intelligence. Sometimes it's complicated, I'm not going to say complicated. It's difficult to understand this tricky difference between the fluid, the universal cosmic fluid, and the material principle. But I think the way they answer here, and hopefully the way I draw the boxes, helps a little bit. So that makes it clear that the spirit cannot touch matter directly. It needs a middleman. And the middleman is the universal cosmic fluid. And they continue. It's part of the same answer. It's a long answer. So it's talking about the universal fluid. In its countless combinations with matter, so there are several different ways to combine the universal fluid with matter. So, in its countless combinations with matter and under the direction of spirit. So there's an intelligence making it happen. Matter by itself doesn't do anything, doesn't go anywhere. Under the direction of spirit, it is susceptible of producing an infinite variety of things. Infinite variety of things about which you still know very, very little. The word you here refers to us because that's the spirits responding to Allan Kardec, responding to him, to us. So what they're saying is there's a variety of things that can be done, a countless number of combinations, but you know almost none of them. Very, very little. They continue. By being the agent upon which spirit acts, the universal, primitive, or elementary fluid, all the same thing, is the principle without which matter would forever remain in a state of dispersion. Forever remain, because if there's no activity from the intelligence, nothing happens. And it would never acquire the properties given to it by cohesion. So you see, matter becomes matter out of the material principle due to cohesion, molecules and atoms, and well, the atom today is not even a small a small thing. It's not even the minimum particle. The atom for today's knowledge is this gigantic thing that has protons, electrons, and neutrons, which in turn are composed by hadrons and leptons and quarks and bosons, and it goes on and on. So you see, there is an intelligence that makes this thing, gives the property of cohesion. And that's how matter, as we know, comes about. So this is the basic definition from the Spirit's book. So we want to go a little more than this. We want to use references by Spirit André Luiz in this book here, Evolution in Two Worlds. It is very interesting. So I'm going to draw here, and please, 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 this is a visual aid. This is not the only expression of the truth. No, visual aid. So I draw an elliptical purple thing here to represent the universal cosmic fluid. It's not the best representation, of course, because the universal cosmic fluid is infinite, is unlimited. So my drawing is just for a reference. So the universal cosmic fluid will undergo transformation after transformation sequentially to create all different kinds of matter that we know. And it starts at the very basic level, So very advanced spirits, almost, if you will, shoulder to shoulder with God. There's no such a thing, but it's a way of speaking. But almost the purest spirits that you can think of, the most advanced ones, they are able to interfere, to act upon the universal cosmic fluid itself directly to create something else. That something else is what we are going to call cosmic dwellings. That's the first line of modification, layer number 1, if you will. Let's just call layer number 1. So a group of very, very advanced spirits are able to transform the original universal cosmic fluid and create what we call cosmic dwellings. Once we have cosmic dwellings created, groups of very, very, very advanced spirits are able to transform cosmic dwellings and create what we call stellar organizations. Meaning, stellar organizations are not created out of the universal cosmic fluid. There's a layer in between. So stellar organizations is layer 2. Once this is in place, groups of very advanced spirits are going to take these stellar organizations and create galaxies, several of them. This is layer 3. You cannot create galaxies out of the universal cosmic fluid. Because if you think about the degree of purity of the universal cosmic fluid at the top in purple, it's 100%. As you come down, it's not 100%, it's going to be less. As you come down, I'm going to go down more, the degree of purity goes down too. So we walk away from the original cosmic fluid as we go down here. So galaxies. So once galaxies are in place, very advanced spirits are going to be able to take these galaxies and create planets, Earth being one of them. You cannot create a planet straight out of the universal cosmic fluid. This is layer 4. We could do more layers here. This is just I would say an academic study. So we're following what the book says here. André Luiz, Evolution in 2 Worlds. Once planets are in place, so let's restrict to the Earth, because that's, more like we could probably understand something about the Earth, not about any other planet. So once this is created, there is matter here in the planet. The planet is a physical thing, right? It's physical. There is matter in there, but it's not matter as we know. It's not a desk, it's not a computer, it's not a physical body, not yet. It's what we call imponderable matter. What is imponderable matter? We have defined this in the past. Is matter, meaning part of the planetary fluid. Look at my vocabulary. Planetary fluid. I'm not going to say universal cosmic fluid anymore. Not because it's not necessarily wrong, but it's misleading. It's misleading. So imponderable matter is the type of matter that uses the planetary fluid, but we cannot detect with any of our 5 senses. We cannot. We need other ways to detect it. And those ways are chakras, which is another program in the future, shortly. Once the imponderable matter or the planetary fluid is in place, then yes, now we can modify that to create matter as we know it, which is called ponderable matter. What is ponderable matter? Is matter, some sort of matter that we are able to detect with at least one of our 5 senses. So they have several layers. So ponderable matter, let's say a chair in your house, which was created by, a carpenter, people, whatever the process was. Ponderable matter. It doesn't come straight from the universal cosmic fluid. The carpenter did not go to the universal cosmic fluid, transformed it into ponderable matter. No. And I hope the idea of this graphic leaves, I would say less speculation maybe on what this all means. Ponderable and imponderable matter are part of the planetary fluid. So if I tell you this, well, we are able to go into the universal cosmic fluid and do this and that. It's misleading. Don't use that. Planetary fluid is better, because if you transport me today to Jupiter, I'm not going to be able to even survive in there. I'm not going to be able to even produce my perispirit, because the imponderable matter of the planet is completely different than the one here. So ultimately, the both planetary fluids come from the universal cosmic fluid, but not directly. They go through a sequence of transformations to make that happen. So who is responsible for doing what here? Universal cosmic fluid. Let's make it smaller so we can add stuff to the graphic here. Universal cosmic fluid. There's only one that can produce it. God. Nobody else produces that. No one else. Not me, not you, not Jesus. No. Only one produces the universal cosmic fluid. Who produces the other things? For example, God does not create directly cosmic dwellings. Other spirits, very advanced spirits, take the universal cosmic fluid and make it happen. Not God, not him. So who does that? So cosmic dwellings, stellar organizations, galaxies and planets are created by what André Luiz called the great devas, the great intelligences, archangels. He uses 3 or 4 different names because different belief systems use different names. Great devas come from the Hinduism, archangels from Christianity. So he uses 3 or 4 different names for this. These archangels are responsible for creating stuff on those 4 layers that you see on the graphic. And who is touching the bottom 2? Imponderable matter and ponderable matter within the planetary fluid. Who is doing that? You and I. And all 25 billion spirits on Earth, of which 8 billion are incarnated. You and I, we do this. We do ponderable matter, yeah. We build computers, we build houses, we build physical things. So how do we do imponderable matter? Well, perispirit, thought. You see, your thoughts here, if you were able to be transposed or transported to Jupiter, your thoughts in Jupiter would be different, because the planet, Jupiter is the most advanced planet in the, spiritually speaking, in the solar system. So you would not be, we would not be able to produce some sort of bad thought, because the planetary fluid does not allow. So I wouldn't be able to survive. Most of us wouldn't be able to survive, because our thoughts, and thought is the first thing that the spirit does, wouldn't work in there. The planetary fluid is proprietary to the planet. You see, imponderable matter and ponderable matter in the graphic are they are under planet. So hopefully that's a little bit clear. And I want to bring 2 phrases from the book that I mentioned, Evolution in 2 Worlds. First, and that's how he starts the book, by the way, the cosmic fluid, that's the first phrase. The cosmic fluid is the divine plasma. He also calls the breath of the Creator, and he also calls the neural force of the all-knowing. Breath of the Creator, it's like the Creator breathes universal, he expels, per se, universal cosmic fluid and spiritual principle. And here's another phrase that I wanted to bring. In this primordial element, which one? The universal cosmic fluid, constellations and suns, worlds and being vibrate and exist like fish in the ocean. So the entire creation, not just the earth, the entire creation is a fish in the ocean. It not lives, but it is. It dives into the universal cosmic fluid. This study can be very complex, much more. We did a very basic approach to the subject. It can be very extremely scientific, which, we do every week. We talk about a different thing. So we start getting the ideas, and we can probably, by the end of this year, do something really more technical for those who are interested in. But, for I would say an overview of what it is, I think the level that we did today is enough. If not, we always want your comments, your questions, your suggestions, and we are going to be here for you. Thank you very much for participating with us again on this Wednesday, 7 p.m. Don't forget, next Wednesday, 7 p.m., same thing. We're going to be here, Eastern Time. Spiritism, a closer look on car decorator. Thank you so much, and I'll see you then.